So Lincoln Riley is here in Southern California today. We saw him coming off the plane in the beautiful golden light of Southern California wearing the SC shirt. It's so jarring to me, and I have no emotional ties to Oklahoma whatsoever. How in the world did this happen?
This is a crazy whirlwind, Rich, because it's not just a USC Oklahoma thing. Remember, for about 2 weeks, there were a lot of people speculating and some reports about how Lincoln Riley was going to be announced as the new head coach at LSU.
Right.
Scott Woodward, the AD there, he's the big, splashy hire guy. And everybody thought he was going to get him ridiculous amount of money. And what I was reporting was he's not going to go there. And I had honestly thought after hearing that the only place Lincoln Riley would leave OU for was the NFL. At some point, that may happen. Yesterday morning, Sunday morning, I get a call around 9 o'clock our time, 11 a.m. Oklahoma time. Lincoln Riley looks like he wants to take the USC job. And I was like, wait a minute. Seriously? That didn't add up to me for a while. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking, then I got a call, like I put something out on social media about it. And I just was like, all right, this is going to sound crazy. And because to me, it kind of did. Because I was like, this is USC. They always seem to bumble their way into things and screw stuff up. They will not be able to hire Lincoln Riley away from Oklahoma. And then an hour later, I got a call saying, yeah, he's meeting with the president of OU, and this is going down. It just blew my mind because it was supposed to be LSU that was going to make the splashy hire,
right,
not USC. Well, credit to USC, they pulled off a huge coup. And if you ever think about it, USC's never, even when they hired Pete Carroll, that was like their fifth choice. It worked out great.
Yes, it did.
But this is huge for not just USC, it's huge for the Pac-12 as well.
So before we get to that, let's linger on the Oklahoma part of it because, I was talking in the last hour, Bruce, that when Oklahoma and Texas left or announced they were going to leave for the SEC, we were all just praising how it was on the before the curve. They were ahead of their times, and Oklahoma being in the SEC now is just going to be a boon. And why doesn't Oklahoma serve as an attractive spot for Lincoln Riley anymore? It's not like the recruits aren't coming. All the top-notch recruits that he had have just become the decommit and sending out the googly eyes about, hey, maybe I'll follow coach somewhere now. So why did things fall apart with Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma like that?
From what I've been told, a big part of the appeal was he can come out here and you can dominate this league, right? USC, we all know the great history it has. I mean, it has the Heisman quarterbacks. It has Marcus and Ronnie Lott and Anthony Munoz, and you go on down the list.
Sure.
Willie McGinnis, your guy. It's loaded. But I think unlike the other, and whether it's you look at the blue blood programs, Alabama, Ohio State, whoever, they all have like a counter, right? Alabama, great program, obviously what Nick Saban's done there, but there's Auburn, A&M, LSU, Georgia. There's a lot of competing for that. Ohio State, they got Michigan, they got Penn State. It's like you're on relatively equal footing. USC, there is no equal footing out here, right? You are better positioned. You're in a very fertile recruiting base, which, as you mentioned, most of those 2023 class, which Lincoln Riley had committed at OU, the top guys are all Southern California guys. So he has recruited out here extremely well. So he knows the landscape. He also knows that the way this conference is set up, being the Pac-12, you got Oregon's recruiting well with Mario Cristobal. Chip Kelly's getting a little bit of momentum now that they're 8-4 at UCLA.
Right.
But the rest of the league, look at it. I mean, you got Arizona, Colorado, major rebuild. Cal, Washington now, major rebuild. I mean, these are real problems. And I think Lincoln Riley goes, I can dominate that league. And I think that in the appeal with the chance to rebuild a storied brand as USC, I think that was all very enticing.
So Oklahoma joining the SEC, when it's all said and done, got the wheels spinning in Lincoln Riley's head about getting out? I mean, is that the way we can actually connect these dots? Because, again, it's not a facilities issue. It's not a name issue. It's not a brand issue. It's not like they're not going to get on TV issue. I mean, normally those are the top issues for any coach to say, I got to get out of here. It's not a recruiting issue. It's not like you can't get the top recruits issue. It's not a money issue. He told the Dallas Cowboys no, basically, to stay where he is. It's kind of the only thing left is like, yeah, I don't want to compete in the SEC. It's easier to compete out here. So why not go and move my family to Is there a family tie to Southern California? Like,
Not to my knowledge, because I know he and his wife, they're small town Texas people, you know, and they have 2 young daughters. So the idea of making a big move, and it is a big move.
Of course it
is not insignificant, right? So I think that when you look at this, by the way, he's almost making $8 million a year. The cost of living, you and I both live out here, compared to Norman, Oklahoma,
Sure.
I'm guessing, because USC is a private school, he probably is cracking double digits in the millions.
Well, I'm sure the people
here.
whose check Mike Tomlin said wasn't large enough is definitely large enough for Lincoln Riley. But again, I'm just trying to hone down that essentially, from what I'm hearing, that the move that we were lauding Oklahoma and Texas for taking, because it was ahead of a curve to go to the SEC, essentially is something that Lincoln Riley decided was not his bag, and his bag was better out here.
Yeah, we'll see. Lincoln Riley's going to meet with the media later today. We're going to go over there at, I think, 3 o'clock. We'll see how he kind of explains it. But I think, again, part of the appeal of why a lot of coaches have felt like, even in spite of cost of living and some questionable, issues around the program, and it's not like USC is very good right now either. This is a legit rebuild, right? So I think the big appeal, though, is it is positioned so much ahead of almost everything else in its conference. So to flip it the way you are, I don't think that would be wrong.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.